Hi, my name's Erin Noha, and I'm the digital media lead at iBeAuthentic. Stylists are always surprised by our tagging strategy on Instagram. It's surprising how quickly you can gain followers and gain customers just by tagging different brands, different people in your photos. A lot of people don't know that just using a mix of hashtags, location tags, and product tags can increase your visibility exponentially. So when you tag someone in a photo, it shows up in their Photos of You tab on their Instagram page. But it also shows up in the Explore tab of the people that follow that person or that brand, and that exposes you to a whole new set of customers. The best thing you can do to increase your ROI from social media is to do Facebook ads. I would recommend that you start with a promotion that's coming up and use the goal of traffic or of awareness to launch your first Facebook ad. Then, when you get the results from that Facebook ad, use that as a benchmark to determine whether future promotions were successful or less successful. So an A/B test on a Facebook ad can be done in a multitude of ways. You can test a multitude of things. I would suggest that you start with your copy. Maybe you have two ads and one is written a different way than the other. So you'd test which one is better based on the results that you get. You could also test images versus graphics, different graphics, and sometimes we like to test model images versus product images. For A/B testing, you can also test locations, demographics, and website visitors.